Hello, everyone. Today I'll be reviewing One Battle After Another. So I saw this movie actually a while ago, but it's taken me a while to post about it. I did not see it like opening weekend or anything. I saw it like a week after, and I think that it was a little beneficial to see it all the way, a week after because there's a lot of conversation with this movie. It's kind of died down by now because it's been out for so long, but it's very polarizing, specifically because its subject matter is on something that is happening in like our daily lives like so much and like really a part of what's going on in our country. And so it was really interesting to see that and then also hear people's perspectives. Like I've watched movie reviewers and like a lot of them were talking about it, and it's like it really like depending on how you call the main characters of the movie, like it depends on kind of like your entire viewpoint of everything. And so I thought it was very interesting to hear all this stuff about like, oh, they're either revolutionists or well, they call themselves revolutionists in the movie, um, or they're terrorists domestically, and it's a lot going on in this movie that lends very much to society today. And yeah, people are going to have strong opinions about it, but I didn't even explain the movie, so I'm going to explain that first before I get into all that. But the movie kind of takes place, I think, 15 years in the past. Leonardo DiCaprio and a girl that he likes, they're a part of a revolutionist group that are trying to, mainly like you see them break a bunch of people out of an ICE area. And then they also bomb, I think, a politician's office. And then they rob a bank, which, I mean, I don't really remember. I didn't know revolutionists, just robbed banks for fun, but they did. And they do those things. There's also a little bit of romance in there. It's really weird. The first 30 minutes of this movie, oh my goodness, is weird. I think that there is even reading the reviews, because I don't go see movies with nudity, and I like there wasn't any in this movie, but warning for that because the first especially 30 minutes is just like insanely every single scene there's like a weird little sexual tension thing that's going on, and it's like what like I was like, oh my goodness, the scene would end and it'd be like, oh, let me take a breath, and then bam, we're right back to something super weird. It was all super weird, so I didn't really appreciate any of that. um but then anyways, like someone gets arrested and it all kind of collapses, and Leonardo DiCaprio has a kid with the girl that he was, I guess you could say, dating. I mean, I don't know if he ever really took her out on a date, so I don't know if that counts. But they flee because she was arrested. Not really spoilers. And it's 15 years later, and he's kind of a bum now. He drinks alcohol and smokes weed, and his daughter is actually pretty cool. But the guy who was, who they broke into the ice camp for, and he was involved in like a lot of their, the prime of their revolution, and he wants to get into a white supremacist group, um, which they play that all for humor, which is great humor. It's honestly hilarious. Um, they play a lot of things for humor, and it is really funny, but it's also extremely intense. But he's got to clear up anything that would stop him from getting into this group, and that involves Leonardo DiCaprio and his daughter. So now, 15 years later, what thought was closed with all these people is now back open, and this guy is hunting these two people down. And there's a lot of good in this movie. There's a lot of things that I like. Um, it is an incredibly intense movie. Didn't really like the first 30 minutes at all. I'll just say that right now. The first 30 minutes I could have thrown away and never have seen and been okay with it. But once they jump to the 15 years, oh man, I mean, this movie kicks into high gear and is so good. Um, oh my goodness, I'm totally Paul Thomas Anderson, I think, is the director. I know who the director is, but I'm forgetting his name right now. Not, I haven't seen many of his movies, haven't been huge fans, but he makes movies really well. And this is super well made because once all the things go down, it's really like the chase of Sean Penn's character. His last name's Lockjaw, I think, is going after Leonardo DiCaprio and his daughter. And once they get to where Leonardo DiCaprio is, oh my gosh, it is so intense. There is so much going on. and it's so amazing. There's like basically an entire chase and run throughout an entire small town, and it's so amazing. There's a good 45 minutes in here, I think, where it is just nonstop thrill of like, oh my gosh, these two people are trying to escape. Lockjaw's after them. They're like running away. Leonardo DiCaprio adds in a lot of humor during this, but the intensity is there the whole time, and it's amazing. I was like gripped in my seat. I was like, what the heck is going to happen? So that was an amazing scene, and you know led into the finale of the movie, which again I think the finale is super intense. Once again, it's super great. It's injected with some really good humor and another really intense chase scene that, oh, I mean, yeah, these two scenes really uplift the movie higher than what I was previously thinking given the first 30 minutes. And so yeah, I think that the direction is amazing in these scenes that really help the intensity. They really use the landscape to their advantage. um there's some stunts that I'm like, oh, how'd they do that? No way Leonardo DiCaprio did that. That's is super cool. I think that this movie, the way it looks, the way it's directed, a lot of its set pieces are amazing. I think that those things are 10 out of 10. I think that moving into the acting is also 10 out of 10. I mean, amazing performances. Leonardo DiCaprio, as always, is amazing. He does a great job of keeping the intensity, well, which I've said a lot, but also being extremely funny. He is so funny, and I enjoyed almost every joke he made because he's just so good at it. He was so funny throughout the movie, and that was awesome. But he's also very emotional and gives an amazing performance. His daughter also gives an amazing performance. She's probably the best character of the entire movie, in my opinion. Um, I really liked her and was the only one that I was somewhat compassionate towards, or empathetic, I think is the better word. Her mother, who was Leonardo DiCaprio's, I don't know, fling. She also gives an amazing performance, even though she's not in it too much. I'm trying to think. Benicio del Toro, he is a secondary role, but he's also great. He is also a lot of fun, but also helps out a lot. And Sean Penn gives an amazing role. He is a great villain in this movie because everything he does is so weird. The way he talks, the way he walks, um, I mean, just everything is like a little off-putting, but off-putting in a way that's like funny, and off-putting, like not off-putting in a way that's like I don't really like this. It's off-putting in a way of like, why is he walking like that, or why are you talking like this? I just think that he does such a good job with this role, and like Sean Penn disappears, and it's just this Lockjaw character, and he does an amazing job. And yeah, just fantastic acting throughout the whole movie. But I think that my biggest problem with it, which I would go back, I mentioned this in my Roofman review, is that none of these people are heroes, and I think that they like there are two sides of this pendulum, right? The people that want to protest and the people that want to solve these problems, and the other people that are trying to create order and trying to do what they think is best, right? And the problem is that they in this movie, it's not necessarily a problem, but they use the extremes of both. Like you have the people that are protesting, but the extreme side of that, right? The people who will shoot people and blow things up and just create chaos. And then on the people that are trying to keep order, you have the complete extreme of that of, oh, they're a white supremacy group, they just want to do whatever the heck they want, and they use the laws to do what they want. And so I think it's like it sheds a bad light on both sides, which I don't know what his message fully is with this movie, because I think that after I get out of the movie, I'm like, both sides are wrong. Both sides are bad. We need to fix both. You can peacefully protest, and you can also create order in a good, justifying way. So I don't know. That really took me out of it because I'm like, who the heck am I rooting for here? I don't like you. I don't like you. I don't like you. The only person that I could kind of root for was the daughter, and then also this other girl, but I forget her name, and she's very minor in it. Um, so yeah, it was kind of like hard because again, there's no one to root for. I like to root for somebody, and that was just unfortunate. I think this is a really, really well made film with a lot of great things in it. But overall, I think because of the fact that you can't root for someone, it just it doesn't work. And I think seeing the bad sides of both, it's like your main characters are bad, like they're just bad. There is nothing wrong with that. They rob a bank. Like it's not a revolutionist thing. Oh yeah, like we did that. It's like that's just a criminal. You're just a criminal. So our main characters are criminals, but the only reason we can kind of root for them is because the bad guy in the movie is worse and a white supremacist. So it's like, okay, can't root for anyone. They're all bad. I guess I'll just enjoy the movie or whatever, which I tried to do. And I think that there is a lot to enjoy. Again, like I said, with the intense scenes, and it's just really well made. But overall, I think that takes it down for me. And I'd probably give this one a C too. I think it balances out with how well made it is and how great of acting there is with the I think you could say poor story. I think it's a poor story to have no one you can root for and have all bad characters. And I think the movies I've seen of Paul Thomas Anderson, he likes to kind of do that. And so I'm just not a fan of that. So I think that's why I give it a C because of how well made it is. But um yeah, I'd also give it a C. Actually, I'm sorry. I'm giving it a C minus. C minus final rating because of the early really uncomfortable sexual scenes. No, like I just was like we almost left because it was like this is so weird. So I would give it a C minus because of that. But on the biblical application side, because I think every story takes from the original story of the gospel of Jesus Christ, I think that you know, we see how quickly sin enters things because you look at these revolutionists and it's like, hey, protesting is fine. If you think something's wrong, you could, have your voice about it. But obviously, this is not the way to go about it. And I think that you look at the other side and it's like, oh, like you're following the law and you want to create order. That's fantastic. Super biblical to create order and stuff like that. But it's also super biblical to stand up for things that are wrong. Um, and so it's like at the bottom of these things are virtues, but good virtues. But then we see just sin completely take them over so that, the protesters are now criminals doing criminal activities and, have completely, in my opinion, based off the movie, lost the vision of why they're even doing what they're doing. And then you have the people creating order who are also basically criminals. Um, hungry, not hungry. They're just hung over with power and doing whatever the heck they wanted. So I think that you have a good parody of like, listen, no matter what side you're on, and this is great, especially for our the time that we live in because we're so divided. And I think that the important thing to take away from this movie is that you could be on either side and be a good Christian. You could be on either side and be overcome with that sinfulness and the good virtues you have in your heart be overrun with that. And then you become someone like this in the movie. And so I think it's a really good lesson in the movie to, continue to fight off that sinfulness in the, um, you know, don't let it grow because when it grows, it becomes these characters that we saw in the movie. So that's what I thought of One Battle After Another. Thank you guys for listening. If you want to like and subscribe, that would be awesome. I really would love it if this channel took off. But thank you guys so much for listening and have a good one.